Hello, everybody. Welcome to the LZ Sports Show. I am one of your hosts. I am Mark Adam, and I am joining you here from the WPG Sports HQ, aka my basement, because that's how you do everything now, is working from home. You're not allowed to go out in public and see stuff or people or smell outside air or something. I don't know. I can't remember all the rules. But I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Keith McKnight. Also joining me from his home, his new home, just moved. How's the new digs, by the way, sir? You like your new spot? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
Okay, good.
How are you?
Good.
How are you?
I'm great. We're here to talk Jets hockey. Last night, the Jets took on a Leafs team that is a formidable opponent, and they came out victorious. Let's have a look at the stats pack. Let's look. Let's see why they are so happy about last night. 4 goals against Toronto's 3. They did play the whole let them score first game, which is, becoming a signature move for the Winnipeg Jets. They have the best record in the league when allowing the first goal. They have the best record in the league when trailing after the first period. And they just don't seem to be able to let anything get to them. You see they're seriously outshot. They rode Hellebuck hard. 39 shots on goal for the Toronto Maple Leafs. 36 of those denied. That's a pretty good statistic when you think about it. Not so good of a statistic is the 34% in the faceoff circle. Winnipeg is really struggling in that area. What do you think about that, sir?
The only other than agreeing with you on just about everything that you said there regarding these stats, when you see the physicality stat there in the sense of the hits, the Jets going with 29, or was it 28 there, compared to the 15 that you saw the Toronto Maple Leafs have. And I know he's not in the game anymore, but head coach Julien says that, a lot of teams don't take to the physical game. They don't respond to it very well. And I think that's what happened. And I mean that crediting the Jets, right? Because they were the ones who attacked the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we were always talking about it, even in our power rankings. Let's not shy away from anything about us being honest that the fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs on paper are, an all-star studded team.
Absolutely.
And last night, I think the Jets took them very, very seriously. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
The Toronto Maple Leafs are a dangerous squad. That said, I know it was less than 2 weeks ago. I think it was 10 days ago that I did that power rankings, right? So March 1st, start of the month, and Toronto was by far in the lead. Now, if you were to ask me right now where I would place them, I'd say 5th. Right now, they're not playing the hockey that they were. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They're 6-4-0 in their last 10. Still a winning record, but by no means is it the Toronto that's been dominating the entire North Division as all of February. So I think Toronto's got some checking to do inside. They got to figure out there's something happening in that locker room. I'm not sure what it is, but they still are second place in the league if you ask the NHL, because 38 points. And the only reason they have the 38, because also Tampa Bay has 38 points and they're first, but Tampa Bay has a game in, 3 games in hand on the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the difference being Tampa Bay has played 24, Toronto's played 27. They have an identical record except for Toronto has 3 extra losses. So, when you look at the percentages of points earned, Toronto actually slides all the way down to 5th place behind Florida, a surging Carolina. You know what? I'm going to bring it up on the screen here. I want you to see the stats that I'm about, because Carolina has surged as well. 6-game winning streak, 7-3-0. But there's a lot going on in the NHL right now. But Toronto is really taking a slide. Winnipeg is the second in the North Division, but they're in 8th place for me and for the NHL. If you look at it either way, they sit in 8th place. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where if you want to look at Toronto as the dangerous team they are, you absolutely can and you should, because they have all of the speed. They have all of the talent. When you look at their roster, it is a terrifying thing to play against. But the Jets went into that game absolutely unfazed. They were shaking off a 7-1 loss to Montreal 3 days prior. So they did get the 2 days in between games. So that was kind of a nice thing for the Jets. And I think they took that time to really set their heads right and look at the team they were about to play and say, if we play like that against Toronto, we're going to come back with a lot of bumps and bruises that we really don't need right now. So they went to work and they fixed the problem, I think. That's my personal opinion on the matter. So weigh in, Mr. McKnight. What do you think?
The way that they responded and they rebounded from a 7-1 loss this way to attack a Toronto Maple Leafs team. Sorry there, my Shifley bobblehead here. Mark Shifley just fell here. Hello. Thank you for that. Thank you for the gift there. The Winnipeg Jets at the game a couple years ago. Thank you to my Uncle Henry and Auntie Debbie. They're the ones that gave it to me. So the Jets took that game very seriously. They didn't take it lightly. Let's put it that way. And as much as you and I always praise and we're a little, I'm not going to lie, I felt a little bit threatened by the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I compare the fan base. I'm wondering about the fan base right now. Like I said, don't put your Jets gear away. I'm not changing mine. Like, I'm standing by this team because, like, you know, it's like when the Lakers had a couple bad seasons. If they were to beat a good team by like 40 and then lose to a bad team by 20, all the Laker fans were like, "Oh my God, the Lakers suck when they lose by 20." And then they would win a game by like 40, and then like, "Oh my God, the Lakers are going to win the title." It's just like, I feel like the fan base doesn't need to have these ups and downs with the Winnipeg Jets because of the 7-1 loss to, you know, the Montreal Canadiens, and then now they're coming back and beating a team. Like, one, I'm not threatened by the Toronto Maple Leafs anymore. We discussed this in one of our last shows that any team can beat you on any night, and you can beat any team. And this hockey division, is showing that. Like, this Scotia North Division is really showing that. And forget about that 7-1 loss. I'm sure the Jets are saying the exact same thing. I think we need to move on from that too. It doesn't need to be brought up anymore. And look, they just beat a really good team. And then you saw the physicality standpoint, yes, in your stats that you had brought up. You got guys like Joe Thornton there that can throw their weight around, and then the Jets are going to come in with defensemen that are under 6 feet, maybe under 6'2", such as guys like Neil Pionk. Oh, and he got 3 assists last night. 3 assists, and he had 1 assist in consecutive games. We talked about that in the preview. Yeah, I know you're impressed. We discussed this before we went on air.
Absolutely, and Neil Pionk he's a next level type of player that I'm so excited about, and I don't even know how to express. I don't know. Neil Pionk, 3 assists on the night, and he really shined. Didn't get a goal, but didn't need to. He did all the little things right. I'm with you. I really enjoyed the way that he played the game last night. Looking here at the score sheet, though, 19 of 23 for Anderson, not great on Toronto's side. You see Austin Matthews getting 2 goals in a losing effort. Not uncommon for him to be leading the squad regardless of the outcome. Zach Hyman's goal, I thought, was an absolute defensive meltdown for the Jets, and that's something they really need to look at. To be completely honest, I would love to take a second and let's have a look at that, shall we? Let's take a minute and let's actually break that down. So I actually have the highlights queued up here. Let's have a look. You're going to see on this play, let's have a look. There's Connor, and he just sort of coasts across the blue line, and he's a little disappointed with himself. You see it in his face right here, but let's take a better look. You get a better angle of it. So you see him just coasting, but then he realizes, oh no, something just went totally wrong. So he seems upset, and he's looking back. Is he looking at his bench? I don't think so. I think he's looking back at Nathan Beaulieu and going, what the heck was that, buddy? Because if you look at this from the other angle, and I'm just going to stop it when it gets to the point here, all of a sudden, look at this. Why is Nathan Beaulieu taking Mikheyev out of the play on the side there when Hyman's streaking in, and you just give up the inside of the ice, make Kyle Connor play the chase game? I don't understand why that happens. And Kyle Connor was slowing up because I think he expected Beaulieu to be on the inside like a defender should be, and have, when Mikheyev comes across, that would be Kyle Connor's assignment, right? But Beaulieu, I have no idea what he's doing here. He's completely out of position up against that wall. And you see even worse when you look at it from the top down. Look across this blue line right here. How problematic is this for the Winnipeg Jets? You got a coasting Kyle Connor, but I don't think that's the problem. I think Kyle Connor was expecting to cut across and take Mikheyev when Beaulieu took Hyman. Why would you give the guy with the puck and speed the inside track at your goaltender? You see the look of panic on DeMello here. He's got two guys looking at coming in on him on that wing. What's he supposed to do about that? And then you got Nick Ehlers not moving his feet at all at center ice either. So an absolute complete meltdown on the Jets side. But I will say, I would not blame Kyle Connor on this. I think this whole thing comes down to Nathan Beaulieu being absolutely poor at making decisions in that moment. That I'm trying to keep it PG. I'm trying not to swear. But I have no idea what that guy was thinking. Honestly, no idea. Beaulieu, what are you doing? Luckily, Connor makes up for it later, obviously. You got Nikolai Ehlers in his office behind the net. There's a wide open Kyle Connor, makes no mistake. It's just love seeing that. And while we're looking at highlights, quick here. Pionk intercepts this puck, gives it to Kopp. That sauce for Appleton. Appleton makes no mistake. Appleton's goal, absolutely impressive. But I gotta tell you, I'm more impressed with the sauce from Connor or here. This little over the stick. Oh, beauty. And then, of course, Mason Appleton does Mason Appleton things, and the puck is in the back of the net. So, what does all that mean for the Winnipeg Jets? I think they really need to get that sort of out of their system. So that's just my opinion on the matter. But I really thought Kyle Connor he took a lot of blame online. I saw people blaming Kyle Connor for the coast there, but that was 100% Nathan Beaulieu's mistake, which was compounded by, Nikolai Ehlers sort of coasting through the neutral zone, and a lot of people taking common sense defense for granted, and that they didn't get that common sense. Nathan Beaulieu was way out of position, and that threw the whole thing to the wolves. So, when you leave Connor Hellebuck high and dry like that, what are you going to do? And that was their third shot on goal, and it goes in. Not a great way to start the game, going to be honest. But what do you think of that?
When I saw that highlight on television, when they brought that back, they slowed it down time to go backhand. And sometimes when you're too close to the net, the one thing that I found, like when you go backhand, you could just raise the puck so high it just may go out of play because those guys are so good. So he had so much time to go backhand early, so he didn't second guess where he's like, okay, like, is this puck going to go too high or too low? And he had the perfect amount of space, perfect amount of time to make that decision. And, it's not Kyle Connor's fault, because on the offensive standpoint, I'm sure Winnipeg does. JP Biget, I had a chance to speak with him. He homegrown product here, NHL product, also played for SC Bern overseas. See, he says that, like, it doesn't matter, like, when you're on the offensive side, you have to get the puck to the net. And me, not knowing anything about hockey at that time, said that, don't worry about passing it. So it is Nathan Beaulieu's fault, because why did Nathan Beaulieu, he took out the passing lane, but if the Toronto Maple Leafs if the first object is to go to the net and get that puck to the net, why did Nathan Beaulieu just take out the player with the puck? I'm so with you.
It makes no sense. He didn't even take away a passing lane. He literally took out technically what Beaulieu did, not only was it piss poor defending, pardon the language there, but it was actually a penalty. That's interference. What are you doing? Mikheyev doesn't have the puck. It doesn't even look like he's going to get the puck. And Beaulieu goes well out of his way to make that a thing. I don't understand where his head was at when that went down. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. But we will be right back after a word from our sponsor. So, see you in 2 minutes. 30 seconds.
Make your house a better place to come home to with Aquatech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We've been delivering complete customer satisfaction for over 40 years. Whether it's a fully completed backyard escape, a completely renovated bathroom, or a premium upgrade on outdoor furniture, Aquatech is the only name you need to know. That's because if it's an Aquatech job, it's an Aquatech team working on it. No outsourcing, no subcontractors. We do it all. Visit our one-of-a-kind showroom today at 1065 Dugald Road. Aquatech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We create better places to come home to.
Thank you very much to our sponsor, Aquatech Pools and Spas and Bath, or Pool, Bath, and Spas. The Pool, Spa, Bath, that's the one. Got it. Nailed it. Third time's the charm. So thank you very much to them. But a couple of topics from the game itself. I wanted to talk about 3 straight losses for Toronto. That's rough. They knew they had their back to the wall. They were already up. They're up to 2 losses. They have yet to lose 3 straight this season. Now that streak is broken. The Jets haven't lost back-to-back games in regulation yet. They are literally 13-0-0 when they score 4 goals or more. And I think they're... Yeah, I can't remember the stat, but it's 8-0-1 after... or 7-0-1 after losses. So, I mean, they're absolutely... insane. So I don't think there's any, like you said before, don't panic when teams lose 7-1. Who cares? When the Jets are a team that are going to respond. They don't back down from adversity. They do it in game as well as game to game. So if they're down a goal, they don't panic. If they lose a game, they don't panic. They just come back and get the work in. They do it right and off they go. I really I also thought that it's a neat little thing. We're second in the North. We're only 5 points back from Toronto, and they have 2 games in hand. Okay? Or we have 2 games in hand. Winnipeg has played 25 games. Toronto's played 27, and we're only 5 points back. So, if we take both of these games, that we'll be 1 point behind Toronto in the North. And I think we're in a great position to do that. They're going to play a very desperate Toronto tomorrow night. What do you think that the Jets need to do in order to capitalize on a team that's going to be looking for revenge and trying to snap a 3-game losing streak of which this is the first time they've actually lost 3 in a row? What do you think they got to do?
Okay, so just so what you said there, so Toronto just lost 3 games in a row, right?
Yes. Yeah, for the first time.
Congratulations to the Maple Leafs on their hat trick. Good job. Good job. And every time that you say that is Leafs fans, is this the year? Is this the year? This is why I didn't say this in any of our shows, and I'm not saying it either, even though I'm not with the Leafs Nation.
Yeah.
This is not your year. This is not your year. You're going to find a way to screw it up. You will. And that's just the way that it goes with your team. It's just the way that it goes.
Yeah.
There's too much pressure to play in Toronto. I can't believe that, Matthews and Tavares plays there. I looked at this documentary with Drew Doughty on YouTube, and he says, shout out to John Tavares, it shows that he has cojones to go over to Toronto and play there. So, yeah, Toronto's going to be very desperate because there's so much pressure on them to win, regardless if Scotiabank Arena is empty or full. There's just too much pressure in Toronto to win as a coach, as players, and that's probably why they have all those all-star studded players. And especially looking at the seasoned veteran that they have with Joe Thornton there, it's oh wow, that's not a joke of a guy to bring in. So back to your comment about them being desperate. Yes, I think the Jets the scouting department in any team now needs to be threatened by the Winnipeg Jets. Like, forget about the 7-1 loss. It's okay. A couple weeks ago, everybody was worried about Montreal. At the beginning of the season, the way the Toronto Maple Leafs were playing, everyone's worried about them. I just think it's time that everybody just, and I mean this from like the media standpoint, and I mean this from organization standpoints, like take the Jets very seriously. So with the desperation that Toronto is coming in with, I think the Jets are just too mentally like, okay, we're better than them. We can beat them. Let's not be threatened by who they are on paper. And we can come into their arena and we can beat them. And like you said, they are in condition to win the next 2 games in Toronto. And I support that. I support your comment.
Yeah, and I mean, just to push the roster point again, the Toronto Maple Leafs, listen to the number of superstars on their roster. Jason Spezza, Mitch Marner, Zach Hyman, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, John Tavares, Joe Thornton, Jake Muzzin, Zach Bogosian. Winnipeg fans are going to take a little bit of skin there, but you know, and then you got Riley and say again.
Bogosian has a cup with Tampa Bay, like, you know what I mean? He's looked at as a guy that can help a team win and go deep in the playoffs, right? So.
Yeah, and I mean, Mike Riley and Jake Muzzin led the defense in time on ice, but 14 minutes for Bogosian, that's a lot of time on the ice. Mitch Marner had 24 minutes, which is a lot for a forward. Zach Hyman had over 23 minutes. Austin Matthews was 22 and a half minutes. They don't have to lean on any one guy. Austin Matthews gets all the press. Mitch Marner gets a little bit, but honestly, they have an absolutely terrifying squad when you look at them on paper. And up to recent, maybe up to and including a week ago ish, they've been feared. Not only were they first in the league if you looked at it through points percentage, they were also first in the league if you looked at it through the way the NHL does it, through just raw points earned. So to do both mid-season is tough, and they were killing it. And they're, like you said, they're a scary team to play against. You felt intimidated by them. I was worried about how the Jets would respond, not only to them, but after that 7-1 loss to Montreal. But it didn't shake them. They came out. They're playing like they know how to play, and I love it. I think it's wonderful. Injuries. Beaulieu took a puck for the team. He took one, and he's injured, but we don't know to what extent. Paul Maurice didn't really have much information last night, but he said he would be letting us know more about that today. I think a lot of fans of the Jets would like to see him not be in the lineup. So you never want to see a guy get hurt. You're never cheering for injuries at all. But if since this has happened, it raises the opportunity to take Beaulieu out and play some other people. Sami Niku getting a little more ice time. Maybe Logan Stanley makes an appearance. I think there's a lot of options that the Jets have right now, and we've talked about it before, but their depth is insane. I personally think that with the way Beaulieu's been playing, and I don't know why Paul Maurice is a very smart man. I don't know why he keeps defending Beaulieu. Beaulieu is playing really poor hockey. He makes really poor decisions that cost the team over and over again, and I don't understand Paul Maurice's love for him. I don't get it. Hopefully he gets over that, especially with this injury. Maybe this will solve some of that problem for the Jets. Whenever there's a giant defensive meltdown, it's inevitable that you're going to see Beaulieu right in the middle of it. And I'm not really sure how you defend that over and over again, but Paul Maurice seems to do that. So what's your thoughts on Beaulieu? Who would you like to see replace him?
I like the fact that he does stick up for his teammates. He doesn't take anything from other teams. If every hockey fan knows what I mean by that. But the way that if you didn't show me and the fan, or sorry, our viewers and our fans as well, our fans, that's awesome, about the Kyle Connor, how everyone's going to blame Kyle Connor for that mistake. I see that now. It's like, it was Beaulieu's fault, and he is a guy that flies under the radar for the Winnipeg Jets on the defensive side. And maybe because, I don't know, I believe he played for the New York Rangers for a bit, and he spent some time in Montreal. I know that for a fact because I have a Nathan Beaulieu hockey card with on, so I can guarantee that I'm right on that one. Yes, it's like 100%. Like, it shows that it's his fault. Like, and look, they score like that. He didn't even think about anybody. He knew he had to step on Kyle Connor. So
yeah, I just don't get it.
Love with from Paul Maurice. My question for you now, and even I hope somebody can drop a comment: is Nathan Beaulieu expendable, and is he tradable?
I would have to say yes. I think he is a guy you don't protect during the expansion draft. I think he's a guy that if the opportunity arises, you look to offload him. I think he's a liability on the back end, and with the depth that the Jets have, that shouldn't exist. You shouldn't ever have to put up with a guy who's going to make those kinds of mistakes, because it's not like he's putting production into the other end. It's not like he's Neil Pionk with 3 assists every game and he makes that one goof, right? It's not the same. You got a guy who really, he needs to go. Beaulieu's time in Winnipeg should be done, and I am uncertain why Paul Maurice just doesn't do it. But we've sort of beaten that horse to death. So let's get back to a couple other topics. That was the only game last night in North Division action, so not really much to talk about there. Upcoming games for the Jets: we got 2 more in Toronto, then they're back home for 2 against Montreal, and then they're off to Edmonton for a couple. It's not an easy road for the next 2 weeks, basically, for the Jets. Not that there's any easy games in the NHL, especially this year with the way things are in the series and the rivalries building up. You're seeing teams a lot more often, so you actually get to prepare for them a little better. The games are a lot closer. I don't know if something I really am like blown away by is when you look at the stats, look at the penalty minutes. The Jets haven't had more than 4 penalty minutes in the last 5 games or something like that, and their opponents haven't either. The penalty minutes are way, way down, and I don't know how to explain that. I think the teams in the North are a lot more high-flying, high-pace, less goony games. They're more like, let's race to the puck. It's a lot more about the skill and the speed, and that's why when you play against teams like Toronto, that's a scary team to play against when you're Winnipeg, because you're 2 high-flying teams. Neither team really has any goons on it. You're made up of a lot of really skilled, quick guys. So basically, whoever gets to the puck first is going to score first, and that's just the way it is. And luckily for the Winnipeg Jets, their legs held out longer than the I don't want to say aging Toronto Maple Leafs, but I mean, when I talk about their stars, Jason Spezza, not a young guy. John Tavares, not a young guy anymore. Joe Thornton, he's been playing longer than some of these other kids have been alive. So there's a lot of experience in Toronto and a lot of high skill, but in the late stages of games, that speed slows down just enough that it opens windows for teams like Winnipeg, who they never go away. Late in a game, Winnipeg's never out of the game. They're always going to be right in your face. They're always going to be pushing boundaries and pushing that puck forward. And teams like Toronto are going to struggle late in the game. They need those goals early in order to get out to a lead, and then their goal is to hold those leads. Where, Winnipeg doesn't really have a problem with pacing. They can go as hard as they want the entire game, and they just have the conditioning to make it work. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on the matter again. But the next 6 games are going to be a big, big challenge for the Jets. Which of those, the 2 more against Toronto, 2 at home against Montreal, and then 2 in Edmonton. Which of those 2 games should the Jets be the most worried about? Are you still with me, Keith? I think we lost Keith there for a minute.
There's some jet lag there. You like that? Hang on. What was your question there? I'm sorry.
Which of the 2 games series should they be worried about? The 2 left with Toronto, the 2 at at home against Montreal, or the 2 in Edmonton?
They should just be worried about the next 6 games, because the way that the Jets rebounded from that loss, beating a really good team, like you said, and I like that comment that you said about the Jets, is that, they're in condition to win the next 2 games in Toronto. They obviously, you want to talk about revenge? It's going to be a revenge series against Montreal when they come here. 7-1? 7-1? The Jets have a personal, there's agenda. There's everyone has their own agenda regarding that game. Let me put it that way. The coaches do for every single special teams unit. The players do for every single line. Let me tell you that's also a game that Pierre-Luc Dubois is going to he's going to be like, okay, I really want to be involved in this series as well. And then when you're going into Edmonton, the Jets better not forget that the Edmonton lost to Toronto, but Winnipeg beat Toronto. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I get it 100%.
The Jets are a serious team that needs to be looked at. And you talked about penalty minutes. Let me get back to that before I let you go ahead. You pointed that it was 4 minutes. How many times have we seen this where the Jets pick up no penalty is good at all, right? So when they pick up penalties in the final minutes to really put them in a losing situation, right? And that is their biggest dagger to themselves. That's like their own worst enemy. That's when they get out of their own way, and not pick up penalties in the final few minutes of the game and just close these teams out. That's where the Jets win.
I agree with you. I think that's 100% an accurate statement. And I don't really have a lot to add. Real quick, I think the rest of the series relies on that fast versus fast. Again, whoever gets the puck first is going to score first. And Toronto's going to come out hard because they have to. They don't have the longevity that the Winnipeg Jets do, and I think they recognize that. Hot teams in the NHL right now, the Islanders, they're on a 6-game winning streak, as are the Hurricanes. So look out for both of those squads. In their last 10, 8-1-1 are the Islanders. That's insane. A team that sort of quietly having one of those seasons that you don't really, and especially in the North, we don't hear as much about the other divisions anymore because of it's just, you kind of have to go out of your way for it, which is fine. But quietly having a great season are the Islanders and the Hurricanes, 7-3-0 in their last 10. I mean, the Islanders at home this year are 11-0-2. That's an insane statistic. There are 6 regulation losses, all came on the road. So that's a huge thing. 11-0-2 at home. They haven't lost a game in regulation at home yet this season. Keep your eye on that. I'm really interested to see how that all plays out. I don't know if we need to talk about the cold teams. Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa, take your pick. They all suck right now. They're just all so bad. It's almost not even worth talking about. And are they teams on a slide? Not even, right? They're just terrible teams. And something funny that happened last night too. I don't know if you saw one of the best, probably in my estimation right now, Tampa Bay are the best team in the NHL. By all the statistics that you want to look at it by, Tampa Bay, best team in the NHL, number 1. Okay? Detroit Red Wings, less so. I would say that they are like bottom 3, no matter how you look at it. I think they're in 30th place officially, and I think if I were to be judging it points percentage, taking all that other stuff, I would also leave them in 30th place. So what does that mean? Nothing, because what I want to talk about is they were playing their game last night, and the game kept getting interrupted by horns over and over. The goal horn kept going off during the middle of the game and stopping play. I thought that was just kind of funny. They eventually got it under control and got the game underway, but that game was a bunch of free points for Tampa Bay. So because that's what Detroit and Ottawa and Buffalo seem to be this year, is just whenever you play them, they're free points. It's automatic points on the board, as long as you don't underestimate them. They do have some skill there, but I don't know what their problem is. They got to climb their way out of that basement. I think they're just looking at what's happening next year. Is there anything you want to add before we close up, Mr. McKnight?
I don't think so. I think we touched on everything, and rooting for the Jets. Don't wave the white flag. Just wave your team flag like I am right now. I'm not 20 Kornheiser from pardon the interruption, but I'm going to wave a flag too. So
fair enough.
Your Jets flag. Put your gear away. This team, they're going to come out of this division in the top 2, not the top 3, not the top 5, not the top 10. They're coming out in the top 2.
They play their cards right. They're going to win.
They're going to win. They have the players. They have the character. They have the mental stability. Is obviously to go and withstand the bumps, the bruises that are going to come with it. And I think the Jets are ready. I think they are. This is their year. If you're a Leafs fan, I know you say this is your year every year, but like I said, I'm standing by the Jets. I'm not putting my gear away. I'm not changing it. I'm standing. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Fair enough. Right on. Well, that is our time today. Thank you very much for joining us here in the LZ. On behalf of myself and my partner, I'd like you to follow us on all our social medias. So it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Hit them all up. We really would appreciate that. Don't forget that you can call us. We would love to hear from you. Give us a call, 431-800-4555. That would be lovely as well. And you leave us a message. We'll use them on future shows. We're just happy to be here. We're fans talking sports. We love Winnipeg sports teams, and we're going to talk about them. Join us here in the LZ in future episodes. We're just trying to start a conversation with the loss of a radio station that shall remain nameless. There's a lot of sports fans looking for content. Come help us build it. Like let's do this as fans together, because if we let the other people do it, then they're not going to build what we want. So let's do it. Winnipeg, go Winnipeg. So until next time, we'll see you.
We have it. So join us here. Join us right here on the LZ. Whatever you need on sports, we got it. So just don't look anywhere else.
See ya.